All right, so guys, here's what we're doing. These guys, they've really done great job at a lot of different things. But what I tried to do was call up a couple people that I know that do really well at certain things and are willing to share and help. So what we're going to do is have them kind of explain, the thing that I asked them to talk about. And we're going to let everyone go through and explain. And then after everyone's finished, or after each one is finished, I'll ask them some questions, and then we'll move to the next person. Then once everybody's finished, we'll open it up for any questions that anybody has for anybody on the panel. Okay? And we're going to start out with Mr. Ken Kelly out of Naples, Florida.
All right, everybody. We'll get started here. So quick little background into me. I took over the family business. I just graduated from high school. I was working on the roof with my dad, one-man operation. I watched him fall off the roof in front of me. When he was going, he put his hands out to break his fall. He crushed both of his wrists. And around that same time, a girl that I was dating turns up pregnant. So I got into the roofing business, had to perform really, really quick. And I made more mistakes than probably anyone else in this room. I've got about 12 doctorate degrees in the School of Hard Knocks hanging on the wall or coming in the mail. So that's the quick introduction. I will say that there's a lot that goes into building a service department, but there's some really important key things that I just want to review with you if you're thinking about getting one going. I love this quote from Ernest Hemingway. It is, everything happens gradually and then all of a sudden. Then suddenly. And that's exactly what happened with us. In 2004, 2005, we had major hurricanes that came through our hometown and messed up our replacement division. And while we're struggling to get the amount of work done that was going on during that time, I looked, just into the future with our little crystal ball and saw that there wasn't going to be any replacement work because 70% of the market was being replaced at that time. So I said, we're going to have to fire up a service division and make it work because that's probably all that's going to be left after all this storm work leaves. So that's what we did. We started investing in the trucks. So I'll go through just kind of the why, the how, and the what of the service division. So we'll start first with the why. Repairs feed your replacement division. So if somebody gets in your face and you're trying to do the transition, you kind of do one of those, hey, don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me, and I'll take your job next year, next 3 years, whenever. We just want to help you. Let's go take a look at what you got. Well, for us, when you have a repair division, you do take their work next year, 3 years, and then eventually get the replacement. It's a feeder for the production division, so it allows you to maximize a little bit more of revenue through each one of your interactions with your clients. Because the clients eventually, if you build that rapport and that relationship with them by doing multiple repairs, they don't want to go play Russian roulette in the phone book and try to pick another roofer. If you've got that established relationship and you go and you finally present the replacement, they know it's time, and they're not going to second guess your price. They're not going to really, bud that because you've set yourself up as the expert already. And then it also keeps that customer in your organization, and it develops that long-term relationship. And since you've got multiple interactions with them, you really get positive reviews on social media sites. You can use them as really strong references because they've got years of experience with your company. Repairs are significantly more profitable than replacements. Our GP is somewhere right around 60%, so you could see that it's a lot easier to make money on the repair division. Like Rodney said, it's not all about the revenue, right? We don't need practice. We need to make money so that we can build a healthy organization and be around to service the warranties and guarantees that we're putting out there for our clients. The next thing is repairs have much less liability. I know a lot of guys that are putting 10-plus year warranties on their re-roofs that they're doing. And I apologize for talking roofing. That's my world, but I'm sure you can extrapolate to whatever industry you're in. With the repair division, our liability is limited to a year, whereas with the replacement division, your liability is the entire roof and any damages that occur because of a failure with that roof. And the repair division, you're just going to come back and try to refix the leak. You don't have to worry about the interior damages or other areas on that roof that'll eventually fail. You just don't have that same liability for your organization. It's a year later or a storm comes through and you're off the hook. Having a repair division puts you into accessory product lines. We're going to talk about that here on the panel, but all of a sudden, our company wasn't just doing roof replacements anymore. We're doing insulation in the attic, we're doing skylights, we're doing gutters, and we use those repair teams to do that. So we could quickly add an additional 25% revenue to any replacement because now we're offering those accessories. And don't just think of a repair as a repair. We're going in there and we're diagnosing the entire structure. You know, we're homatologists. So if they have some foundation erosion around the edge and they need some gutters, well, we're there to help them fix their roof and the problems that they're having, but then we're also going to suggest to them that they get some new gutters, or if they're having some energy loss, we're going to suggest some insulation. We think it's a huge fix for the labor shortages. In our industry, the NRCA, the National Roofing Contractor Association, says it's the #1 issue facing our industry today, which is labor. And we've had the experience where guys have come to us and said, listen, I just don't have the energy to be up there as much anymore. I'm going to be leaving the industry. I'm going to be looking for another job. And we say, hey, how about we move you over to our service division? You're making the same amount of money, if not more, for half the work. Will that work? And they usually make that transition, and it's awesome to keep that experience inside the organization. It also helps for recruiting, because some of the newer guys, you want to pair them with a tech that's really been around a long time and they know everything. So we'll put some of the new guys on the repair teams to start off so they can pick up from the oldest, not the oldest as an age, but the guys with the most knowledge in the organization, and that usually helps to get them onboarded much quicker so that they themselves someday can become a mechanic, you know. Let me move on to the how, if that worked. If not, you can advance it. I can't see the presentation. We bid repairs just like we bid replacements. There's no difference. We go out, like I said, inspect the entire home. We also use the entire Rodney Webb 10-step process. We don't shortchange anything. We started our service division by only doing repairs on Saturdays and using the existing crews that we had. We kind of broke them up, and we realized quickly that that wasn't the best way to do. You really need dedicated crews, because there's a different mindset in repairing something than under your production crews, where they're used to just ripping and roaring and don't worry, everything's coming off anyways. Whereas on a repair crew, if you don't have that same care and mindset, you'll actually create leaks by trying to repair the one that you're there to fix. We pay our crews a percentage of the job, not by the hour, so that they're invested in it. And there's bonuses on every project based on safety and production. We advertise by neighborhoods. We identify a common problem in some of these cookie cutter neighborhoods, and we know that every one of the homes in that neighborhood has that same issue. So we'll actually market the whole neighborhood and say, hey, Mrs. Jones had this problem. Go ahead and take a look if you're experiencing the same thing. And we get a lot of credibility because we're bringing to them a problem before before it caused damage elsewhere in the home. Let's see, separate budget for your repair division from your production division. Think of it as its own business. It needs to have line by line, everything completely separate. Like Jason was talking about last night, it's another product segment, so it needs to be tracked as such. And it's a good way to get into the commercial side of the business. Everyone's trying to break into that. Well, we just started small. We just started doing repairs, and all of a sudden we learned all these different systems. We partnered with a manufacturer, and then we got ourselves into the commercial business with it. And for those times of the year where you're typically slow, setting up a maintenance division using your repair teams helps to bridge those gaps and to provide work, because you set up customers on a recurring annual program to where you're going back and inspecting. It's not that you're making a ton of money at that time, but you are keeping your crews busy, and you're covering for it. It's not a loss to the organization. Of course, being back in front of that customer gives you also another opportunity to sell an upgrade or an accessory or something along those lines. And then the last piece of this should be the what. And under the what, offering other options to the customers. We talked about the entire structure, but the third price is the original fix they called you out there for. The second price would be what they called you out there for and what you see as a critical next fix. And then, of course, price one is all the accessories and everything all in one. So we use the full 10 steps all the way through. Price before Rodney for a repair was about $1,700 for us. Now it's somewhere right around $7,000. average price for repairs. So it's by far the most profitable, and revenue-wise, it's the highest revenue generator in our organization. We have 10 three-man repair crews. Last year we did $5.2 million in repairs. Pretty healthy bottom line, so we're excited about the future. Let's see, replace the area. Don't just put a patch on it. You know, a lot of guys can come in there and just slap some bull down, as we say in the industry. We don't do that. We take the entire area out and we fix the area. That area should outlast the rest of the roof because it's all new. Right? So this way you don't have to worry about problems or guarantees, and it also helps to justify the price because you are doing it right. Warranty your work or don't do it. If we ever get into a situation where the project manager, our sales guy, calls us back and says, listen, I'm not so sure about this one. The roof's really, really old. It's brittle everywhere. It's got missing tabs. I don't think we can repair it. Then we're not going to. We're only going to actually take on the work that we know we're going to guarantee, because that reputation is everything. Let's see. And I think that's about it. Oh, yeah. It becomes the ultimate partial. If you think about it, you know, who wants to do half the roof, right? Who really wants to compromise? So if I'm able to repair them this year because they just don't have the money, I just can't get them bought, well, I'll be back next year after they plan for it and they know what it's going to cost, and we'll go out and we'll take the job at that time too. And it also has a very high one-call close rate. It's very simple. People just see it as an annoyance or a headache. They want to get it done. They're not usually getting a ton of other bids. So when you get there, it's an easier way to win on the first call.
All right. All right. So let me ask you just a couple quick questions. And then if you have a question for Ken, save it. Write it down, and we'll open up for everybody. I just want to kind of ask a couple of questions on that. Do you have dedicated salespeople, or does all of your sales guys sell repairs, or how do you do that?
The way we have it organized is all of our sales guys sell all jobs.
Okay.
So no, we don't separate it out.
Okay. And do your guys go from price one? Is it ever the full roof, and then you go down to a repair, or do they look at it that way, or how do they do it?
Yeah, if we get there, we do a simple calculation. If the amount of repair is going to be roughly about 30% of what the replacement is going to be, we're going to start pushing them towards replacement, because financially it just makes more sense for them that they replace it this time. There probably isn't enough life left in the roof to really warrant it. But if they truly can't afford it at the time, boom, we'll go right back to the repair and help them out if we can.
Do you, I mean, I know you do roofs, but do you think that this would transfer to other products?
I think so. I don't know those other industries, so I wouldn't be able to tell them how it would transfer, but no question, I mean, anyone who's in a field service organization, if they're doing home improvement for sure, HVAC, countertops, kitchens, baths, absolutely, no question. One thing I forgot to mention is we do pay the commissions much differently for repairs. The commission's actually double for repairs than it is for replacement.
Right, and you can afford to do that. Why?
Because the GP is just so high.
Right. So, and one of the things that when I was doing this, and this is how you learn. When I was doing this, and when I first started, if somebody called my office and said, "Hey, can you repair my roof, or can you fix my window, or can you do the?" We're like, "No, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. No, we don't do it." It was almost like a repair was beneath us, right? And you know, after I've learned what I know now, I think I'd do it a little bit different. You know, thanks a lot, and we'll go to the next one. If you have a question, write it down, okay?
I'm going to stand up. I'm Andy Linus Construction. Can tell you everything I can about marketing that I can possibly. What am I trying to say? I'm going to give you guys every bit of information that I've learned about marketing over the last 10 years. And my number is always on. Rodney knows this. I'll help anybody that I possibly can. You guys can call. I'll give you my number, my email, any information. You have an idea you want to run by me. Why I do this is because of my team. This group of guys that I have right now, our strategy, we have 9 markets, and they're testing things all the time. So most of these ideas that I have or that I'm doing, I've gotten from these guys and other people around the country. So the more people that get in contact with me and have ideas and want to talk about it, usually gets my wheels turning so I can get better and better every day. My main strategy as a marketer is to set myself up as the expert. And I think I'm branded that way in the Twin Cities right now. When people think of Linus Construction, we are the expert in the industry. And what Rodney was talking about yesterday, where this affords us a lot of mistakes, this is probably why we have struggled with staying on the system over 12 years. We've had some ups and downs, and we need Rodney to come and kick us in the ass every now and then and put us back down the right path. Why? Because we show up and they are really laydowns. I want to work with Linus Construction. I'm only going to work with Linus Construction because of what I hear. You guys are the experts. Nobody does better work than you. These are things that our guys hear on a regular basis, and it really comes to having a dedicated team of marketers. The green button here, right?
There you go.
When I have my team, we try to separate. I have somebody that just is in charge of our online advertising, somebody that's just in charge of the print advertising. Right now, we're able to do a lot of dynamic testing, A/B testing, and we're finding out some really cool information. Something that we added to our AdWords this year, and we have a lot of different product lines. This one is specifically for leaf guard, and we have some good analytics on the actual leaf guard part, but putting that ticker down that the offer is going to end at the end of the month, after it gets down to 5 days, my click-through rate actually goes up by 20% for that ad. Another fun fact about leaf guard, we know that our best demographic is 50-plus people, people that are over the age of 50, which happen to be twice as likely to click on the paid ad as they are the natural optimization, or anywhere you show up locally or where it just shows up where you're not paying for it. So I know on my paid budget for this product, because my demographic is an older, I shouldn't say older, sorry for anybody over 50, but the 50-plus people, I'm going to have to spend a lot more money on my pay-per-click stuff for leaf guard than I would with, say, Windows. We've been really having a lot of fun with our ads and trying different words, and I do focus groups. And one of the things I found out in my focus group is that the word durable was really important to people. That when they hear the word durable in our market, Minnesota, that was really important. So I'm like, well, I got to put this in every ad I have. Every ad I have. Now that we've taken all this stuff in-house and we have a lot more control of it, we can test these things. And I found out when I put the word durable in it, that's actually my least conversion rate. It's like 3% right there. And even changing the word from installation to install made a difference. So that a lot of fun. We're getting better at this every day, but we're actually able to spend less and less money. Believe it or not, my advertising expenses are 5.6% of gross, which is pretty small for a lot of companies. Again, more of the analytics that we're trying here and a lot of the testing. Now, social media. I write a lot of blogs, or so it seems, on the internet. And these blogs get posted around the country. Angie's List picks them up. I went out, I was in Fargo, North Dakota. Never done any work in Fargo, North Dakota. I had my truck lighted up, and a guy said, I saw your blog in the Fargo newspaper. I'm like, that's great. We put it out there, it gets picked up, and it really does help brand us as an expert. Now, I have ghostwriters writing most of these. I come up with topics, I read them, but it's my byline. So not only does it help branding Linus Construction, it's also branding myself, which is important in our industry, I think, and I know that I am always going to be here. The people writing the blogs, as much as I love them, may not always be here. So I have a hard time putting their names on those. But it's just not about the blogs that we're posting out to our social media. It's everything. We like to have a lot of fun. Somebody came up with, or I think it was Lenny, one of the people were talking about the drawing for kids. When you have kids at the thing, Marketing Mind immediately comes up, this would be a great social media post monthly. Here are the pictures of the houses that we gave to our customers that their kids were on. Little Billy just won the $50 gift card to wherever. That kind of stuff is going to get played. And if you can tag those people in it, you can. And boost your posts. Most of us are losing more than $100 every day due to theft on job sites and things like that. For as little as $100 a month, $200 a month, you can really get a lot of frequency. And we're learning stuff every day. Junior told me, Ray, the other day, he's boosting his posts at home shows and increasing traffic. You can geofence these posts. So if you got a big home show, or what we have as a state fair, where we do a lot of geofencing, different apps will allow you to put your advertising on there. It drove a lot of traffic to our booth and a lot of traffic to our social media. Right now, my social media person plans out the entire month. We sit down that first week of the month, and we know when every single one of our posts are going to happen, and we track that, and I try to get as many people involved in sharing that as possible. I actually am looking for people right now to help with our brand and to be social media advocates of ours. There's a local radio station that I just partnered with, and it's a female talk station, and the female demographic is a big one for us. Part of the deal for me remodeling this particular personality's house is she's obligated to post things on social media for us and to follow us on social media and to actually come up with some content for us. I think this is going to be more and more what we do. I got the wrong button here. This is something new in the last couple years for us. I took one of my best marketing people and I dedicated them to reputation management. Knowing that being the expert and having the reputation that we didn't do, either way, hopefully do, reputation that we do, this was going to be really, really important. I dedicate somebody that's doing this every day, following up with every customer. I used the third parties before, and I love guild quality. I like seeing that, but I wanted more control over it. Why? Because I wanted my person talking to that person when they found out somebody that gave us a positive review, they were trying to get them to post that in a lot of different places. I've struggled with Yelp over the years because I really do think it is somebody, they're blackmailing you. They say it's not. They say it's about the algorithm. But funny, a month ago, I started spending money on advertising with Yelp. All of a sudden, all my positive reviews are starting to show back up. And they say it's an algorithm. But I just keep spending the $6,000 a year because I can't stand that they show up online with a couple of negative reviews from 2011. So this person is dealing with all our customers and getting them to shout our praises online. And we don't stop there. If they put a positive review, we don't tell them about this gift whatsoever before they actually do it. But when they put a positive review, if they had spent less than $30,000, we're sending them 2 Yeti mugs with our logo on them. If they spent over $30,000, they're getting a cooler that has an epoxied metal plate with our logo on it with 2 of the Yeti mugs. My hope is that when they bring this out to family events or their friends and other people will see it, they're going to talk about it, and we know that they already had a positive experience, so hopefully they sing our praises again. Referrals, past customers, things like that are really, really important to our business. Now, this is something that we're having a lot of fun with. I have some friends that are in the outdoor world, and they needed a roof last year. And the cool part about this guy and his filming that he does, I think he does some of the most beautiful filming in the world. Donnie Vincent's his name, if you want to check him out on Facebook. The ladies really, 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 really like him. He's a strapping young man. But he is chasing animals, a specific animal, but it's all about the beauty shots and why he does it and being out in the nature. And I just really liked the way his camera work was. He needed a roof on his house, so I bartered 42 videos for a roof. I thought it was a pretty great deal. Now, I'm going to be able to get these videos that are going to be constantly created. We have 20 of them scheduled right now. Here's the first one he made, or the last one he made for us here about our gutters. That's right here. My son named this video, "My Gutter Can Kick Your Gutter's Ass." 5,000 views in 24 hours. Didn't cost a lot. It was us screwing around with the slow-mo camera out in the warehouse. It was a lot of fun, actually. Now, the next video that we're making, I'm really excited about. Why? I have a new website that's going to launch May 8th. You can check it out. I'd love some feedback by anybody. But one of the things that we're really trying to do is geo-target. So a lot of these videos we're going to make are going to be, this one I believe is roofing Hudson, Wisconsin. So when people actually type that into the search bar, it should show up. And we'll have actual pages dedicated to those cities and those products. So naturally, we should come up these search engines pretty quickly. And then again, we spent, good quality video is important. We spent time in the actual sound studio trying to make the scraping sounds that the pitchforks were making. So it's a lot of fun for a roofer to do this kind of stuff. It's something different. You spend a half a day, you're in a studio with guys that really know a lot more about this stuff than I do. So check it out. I think I'm fighting you with the remote up here. I'll stop, Mike. I promise it's a fun video. We are really excited about this project. We are using the Glenwood GAF shingle, the very best shingle ever manufactured. We're replacing a lot of rotten wood, some sidewall flashing, some soffit and fascia work, and of course, finishing off with those awesome leaf guard gutters. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's all from a sound studio. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. That was a suggestion by Donnie, who I think is a social media genius. He's really helped me out a lot on the videos and putting these subscribe buttons and setting up not only my YouTube channel, but now almost all of my videos also live on Facebook, which is becoming the #1 place people actually watch videos. Think about yourselves and how much we actually spend. I know I do. I find myself getting distracted by videos on Facebook way too often. But when they live on Facebook and it's not a YouTube link, the chances of them playing on Facebook are likely. So it really is a complete strategy that we're trying to not only target specific areas, and when I say geo-targeted, what I did is I took all of my customers from the last 35 years and found out, I'm starting out with the top 20 cities that we've done work in. The most work that we've done, and we're using those cities to target because we've done well with them in the past, and we'll start to branch out from there. So it's going to be an ongoing strategy that I'm really excited about, and I think it's going to be the way of the future. 10 years ago, I was spending $300,000, $400,000 in newspaper advertising. Zero today. And I'm spending a lot more on this than I was then. I was probably spending zero then. All those dollars have shifted. I did not see that coming. We had some pretty good programs with pay for performance, but it was getting to be less and less leads. And for us, we need to generate this year 8,500 opportunities really hit our goals. And I think things like this is going to help us get us there. If you have any questions, Rodney has my contact information. You can look us up at lindisconstruction.com. I'm just Andy@lindisco.com. If you don't feel comfortable talking to us here, I'll help out any way I possibly can.
All right. You know, one of the reasons why these guys are so successful, you know, when Andy's talking, he's mostly talking about his location there, but they've branched out with multiple locations, and they put other guys into business and made additional owners. I mean, how many offices have you guys started that you've either taken one of your people and now they own it, or where you've sold it to one of your employees and that kind of thing?
6 that have been sold, 3 that are in the works.
So that they've taken 9 people that work for them. They've helped them grow. They helped put them in business and then sold the business to them. When you help people, it comes back tenfold. And tell you know, I don't know if you want to tell them, but I mean, you called me. I was super proud. Your family made a transition in the business. You mind telling them a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, pretty lucky on how I got where I am. I truly am. I'm blessed. I'm not the brightest guy in the room. I can tell you that much. I got a lot of really good people, and I'm okay with stealing ideas. One of the things I think that makes us successful is something that my mother and father taught me was do it. Just you find a good idea, just run with it. Pick one thing and run with it. And I'm lucky enough where they have just set us up perfectly. I mean, they're not asking for anything for the business. We were able to zero out Lindis Construction. They own the properties. They're getting rent. We bought Dad a new truck, and we have me and my 2 brothers, who are my partners, have a company. This is succession planning has been as painless as it possibly has, and a lot of it has to do with what we've done in the last 12 years with Rodney. We've been able to get to the point with profit that setting up the second generation with me has been way, way easier. They have all these properties that all these guys pay mom and dad rent at their buildings, which really helped me out, guys. I appreciate that, so thank you. But we weren't able to get there without having a system and following it, and that's to you, brother.
I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Let me tell you, man, when you know, and his parents now are retired, and they give the business is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you're able to give that to your kids. That's what this is about right here. And now he can do the same thing for his kids. And his brother can do the same thing for their kids and their kids. And so that's one of the 2 reasons you're in business. And they're a great example of that. And another reason why they're so successful is what he said. He's willing to help anybody, man. I mean, that's just a lot of guys just don't look at it that way, you know. And when you help people, it comes back tenfold on you. All right? Thanks a lot, Andy. All right, next up, Lenny.
Austin?
Okay, yeah, you guys said it in the wrong place.
All right, so my name's Austin Walling. I manage all of our sales reps. We run Rebath of Tucson, El Paso, and Las Vegas. We started the Tucson office in 2009, and then in 2014 expanded to El Paso, and then just this past October of 2016 expanded to Las Vegas. So there's been some unique challenges in managing multiple locations from a rep standpoint. We don't have the number of reps needed at each location to require a manager, so that's me. We're working towards getting to that point. But for the time being, this is kind of what I'm doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to ensure that all my reps are held accountable. So on a daily basis, this is all comes from Rodney and Mike and them holding me accountable to hold my reps accountable. So daily, I'm updating and monitoring all the numbers, right? So I have very specific reports that we're looking at, a lot of what Jason talked about last night. in the sales KPIs. That's what I do. And we have two very simple rules, and this is something that we've recently implemented. And that's the 3 demo no's rule, which requires a strategy call, and the 5 demo no's rule, which requires a ride-along, which Rodney just talked about. So what I've been working on, and in the past, I've based my schedule on, I'd schedule out a month or 2 in advance of, okay, I'm going to go to Tucson this week and Vegas the next 2 weeks and then El Paso. And we weren't getting the results that we needed because I would have reps that would hit 5 demo no's in a row, and I wasn't able to be there and do a ride-along with them. And so what we're changing to now is as soon as they hit 3 demo no's, we implement a strategy call. And even, no matter what location I'm at. So if they hit 3, then the next lead that they run, they call me from the car, and we do a step 3 strategy call. And then at the end, we do a debrief. And what we're starting to do now is if they get to that 5th one, and they get 5 in a row, then I'm going to travel to that location, and I'll do ride-alongs with them. And so for me, that requires a lot more traveling, but that's what is required in order to get the guys to where they need to be. We were going 9, 10 leads in a row where they weren't getting sales, and that just absolutely obliterates someone's close rate, and it requires a lot of sales in a row just to get them back up to where they need to be. So I'm working on managing that tighter on a daily basis. And all of that is just tracking the numbers. And then weekly, we do 2 sales meetings. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do hour and a half sales meeting. And I do them from whatever location I'm at. And then I have 1 lead setter meeting. That's on Wednesdays in the morning, and we just use a simple conference line to do that. So the biggest thing that has allowed us to manage all these different locations is technology. There's so much great technology out now, and it's pretty cheap. And so I'll just walk you through what we use. So the first requirement I would say we have to have at each of our locations is fast internet. We found that the minimum we need is 50 megabytes per minute, or I don't even know what that is, 50 megabytes per second, I think it is, minimum. And that's just to run the video software that we do. If you can get faster, great. That's the minimum we've found is required. Second thing, this is my office conference room in Tucson. So that bottom TV is a 60-inch TV. I think when I bought it, it was $350 or $400. Not the best one, but you can get really nice TVs for pretty cheap now. And then the top 2, those are 40-inch TVs. And you can see on those screens, and this is in our conference room, and each of our conference rooms looks similar to this. Those are all the reports that I want my reps to see on a daily basis. So that's kind of just a dashboard that I built using Google Drive. And it's easy for me to update that from wherever I am, and it's automatically pushed to these screens so my reps can see it. Rodney talked about that competitiveness, and this is one thing that really helps. I put every rep in our organization's numbers on that. So not just per office, they see our whole organization on these screens. To run these TVs, we use a dedicated computer for each one, and I'm an Apple guy, so we use Mac Minis. They're pretty cheap. You can get a refurbished one for $500 or $600. Does what you need it to do. Then you just hook it up to the TVs, and it works great. The biggest thing that we found was you can't just buy some cheap little video camera thing that just sits on your normal screen. You have to get a dedicated conference camera. These cost $200. I think that's probably the least expensive way that you could get into a conference system. It's made by Logitech. They have some higher end ones, and I know some of the guys in here have them. But this is what we've have found has made a huge impact in just making sure that our communication from my office, wherever I am, to all of our other locations feels like they're sitting at our table. So that big TV is a big part of it. It's the way we have it set up. It makes it feel like the people across the room are just sitting at the same table. And important to have a conference camera like that with the speaker and the microphone all built in, because it automatically cancels out interference. And so you don't get all the feedback. If you guys have ever been on conference calls and you've heard feedback, these cancel a lot of that out. And the last thing is the software. So we've tried a couple different ones. We started at the very beginning when we expanded to El Paso. We used like a bunch of free ones. I think we used Google Hangouts. Then we tried WebEx, their free version. Last year we started using Click Meeting, which all these were improvements. And it wasn't until about 6 months ago we started using Zoom. And it is by far and above everything else that we've used. It's super easy to get connected. Our meeting IDs are the same every single time. And you guys, Rodney, you guys have started using them. You're hosting, 50 plus members on them. So this software is super capable. It works very well in conjunction with all of the other systems that we have in place as far as the conference camera and the computers. And it just helps us feel that we're in the same room. That's really what I wanted to accomplish. It's tough when we only have 2 or 3 sales reps at each location to get that good practice. And so when we can bring all of them together, we've built our team up together, and they can really get that higher pressure environment that we need in order to get them better, right? So it's not just 1 or 2 other people looking at them in the room. It's 5 or 6 or 8 people in our other offices that are all looking at that one person that we're doing a role play with. And I always invite people at any time, if they want to jump in our meetings, they're more than welcome to. Jason from San Antonio did this a couple weeks. They're at the same time every Tuesday and Thursday. I love having people on our meetings because it just increases the pressure for all of our guys. So that's what we found for our offices, is we just totally embrace the technology. I think to get all this package, Zoom is $15 a month. It's cheap. But to get our basic setup, like that photo I showed you, you're looking at $1,200 to $1,500. And the ability to communicate with your team effectively, we don't just use it for the sales reps. All of our teams use it whenever we have meetings. So that's it.
Uh-huh. So I know you guys have been expanding your business, and you guys started in Tucson, and what do you think is the biggest thing? A sales manager is the toughest thing to find in this business. As an owner, you know that. I guarantee you, I can ask them, how many people in here feel like they need a sales manager, not saying that the one they have is not good or they don't have one at all, that almost every hand would go up because that's the toughest thing to find. Mm-hmm. What do you think has helped you become such a good sales manager? Because, you've been able to develop Tucson, which then made it to where you guys could financially buy El Paso, and now expand again, and now buy Las Vegas. And that comes from a lot that you do. What do you think has been the biggest thing to help you become such a great sales manager?
So I'd say the biggest thing for me was I started from the bottom, right? So when we first got the company in 2009, some of you guys have heard this story. My dad called me and he said, hey, I was in Phoenix and he was down in Tucson. He said, hey, we can't find one of our sales reps, so you have a lead tomorrow at 2 o'clock, whatever it was. So I had to drive down to Tucson. That's how I got introduced into it. So I had to work from the bottom, selling, and I fully embraced learning the system and being held accountable to that. So I'd say that's the foundation, right? You have to know this system backwards and forwards and make sure that you can hold reps accountable to it. That's the biggest thing. The other thing is just holding them accountable. You guys have held me accountable, which has given me the ability and taught me how to do that for my reps. So having me be held accountable is what has allowed me to hold them accountable too.
Right. And I can tell you this, there's probably 50 of people around this country that know our system that I would say know it very well. I guarantee you he's one of the top guys that know the system backwards and forwards. And that's what allows him to be a really, really good, one of the best sales managers out there. And I don't know what kind of sales rep you were or how well you sold, but Not because I don't know that. I don't remember him out selling as a sales rep, but I do know that what kind of a sales manager he is. And part of that, like he says, because he learned the system and he knows it inside and out. He knows it almost as good as some of the guys that work for me. So, I mean, that's what makes him a great sales manager. So thanks a lot, Austin. Let's keep it moving.
All right, mine's going to be on the benefits of canvassing. But you know how I do it. It's going to be a little role play involved. So, can you put that up? All right. This is one of the biggest things that kills a canvas team or someone trying to start it up. So what I want you guys to do is just be honest. Look at this picture. This is a picture of a typical canvas group that I have at my company just after a shift. Right? So take a look at it, and what's the first thing that came to your mind when you looked at it?
Young.
Young. How about you?
They don't have any uniforms or anything.
Uniform, unprofessional.
Unprofessional.
Unprofessional, young.
Yeah, you're just not dressed.
You guys are not being honest.
Young.
All right. You look at that and you're like, man, there's some shady characters up there. I don't know. I'm not going to let those type of people represent my company. Okay? This is the type of thing when trying to build a canvas team and understand the benefits of it, you're not going to get super duper quality people that are willing to go out knocking doors, right? So you've got to look at it the way I do, and I see it as $63,000 because I got 27 canvassers in that photo. 27 canvassers will bring 27 leads. 27 leads is going to turn into 17 appointments. 17 appointments will turn into 14 demos. And then at our closing rate, that's going to turn into 6 sales. Average contract price, bam, $63,000. Okay? So I just see numbers. Anytime we have a group of canvassers, I'm just counting heads and saying, if we follow what we're supposed to follow, what should that produce? Now, it comes with headaches, but there are some benefits. One of the biggest benefits to this, guys, is you're able to control your lead flows, right? You've got 2 different types of marketing. We just heard from Andy up here. There's what we call hunters and farmers. And a farmer is kind of like what Andy was saying. You put your message out there and plant the seeds, and they grow. And sometimes you get bountiful harvest. You know, you can really do well with that. A hunter goes out and kills his food today. Got to eat right now. The best companies out there that I've seen have a very equal mixture of both. That's what I'm trying to get to. When we started my company, we were 95% or more all canvas leads because we understood we could easily go out and find what we call impulse buyers. Those are the type of people where they know they need to do something, but it's got to fall in their lap. They don't want to take the time to do the research and go to a home show and do those types of things. And I know I'm an impulse buyer. If you don't know what an impulse buyer is, the next time you go to a convenience store and you see somebody and they buy one of these things here with the little fan with the light on it at the front counter, that's an impulse buyer. Follow that dude home and sell him whatever you sell. All right? That's what you're looking for. But I talked about these advantages. That big advantage of controlling lead flow, you know, I'm dealing with a company right now where the phones blow up and we don't have enough salespeople to really cover them. So as good as a problem as it sounds, it can hurt you. We know based on those numbers, hey, we need this many leads today. How many canvassers should we send? Okay? Sometimes you could put out a great ad and it blows the phones up, or a poor ad and you don't get what you need. Another nice thing about it is the neighborhoods, controlling the demographic. Everybody in here knows what their wheelhouse is. You know, the type of homes you want to be in, the exact neighborhoods you want to be in. If you're using financing, you want to find where can I get the highest approval rate. So it's a huge, huge benefit. People tell us they're getting other estimates, but it's unlike other lead sources where they don't have them already set up, right? So if you get home show appointment, oh yeah, he's coming right after you. With ours, we put him in the market and then take him out. There are no other companies coming in. So you're able to avoid that competition. We all know this. Hiring, training, maintaining salespeople, it's not easy. But when you've got people that you could get into your organization where you don't have to tell them what's a ridge vent, what's a window, teaching them all those things, they've already understood it, and they're accustomed to rejection, they're good with people. It's like a farm team for a Major League Baseball. Some of our best salesmen have come out of the canvassing force. They understand our company culture, they understand what we do, and we just pluck them out when they're ready. Low marketing cost is the #1 advantage. I'm starting to second guess this after I just heard Andy, 5.6, okay? You see star on that. If you don't run this right, and Rodney taught me this because it can get out of control quick. If you don't understand what to do, I was talking to someone today, Jason, you probably all have talked to him, the guy from Boston. He's like, I'm going to start a canvas team. I'm going to go buy a van. People go out and they'll spend $20,000 on a gas guzzler and don't even have any leads yet. That's going to jack up your marketing cost, especially if you can't convert these leads. Okay? So cost per lead, you've all seen this with Rodney. This is the biggest thing Rodney helped us with. We did this Canvas program long before we met him, but it was inefficient. And what he taught us is, hey man, what are you doing? You say you're generating 27 leads, you're only issuing 17 of them. Where's that other 10 at? What are you doing with those? Oh, they're right here. We pull a big box out just of a bunch of paper, and he says, man, there's millions of dollars in there. And there was, right? We did $1 million plus just off of that. So keeping that lead cost low, major thing. I'm doing breakouts on this. So ask the questions to the other guys because I want to learn from them too. Come to my breakout if you want more on this.
All right. Just real quick, Lenny, as far as when you're talking about canvassing, when you say it's a low lead cost, I mean, and I know what it is what kind of turnover are you? Is that a factor?
It definitely is. You got to recruit, hire, train these people, and keep them there. That's one of the biggest things. That video from Simon Sinek really showed you hiring the right person for this. A lot of you are asking me about that. That's what the breakout's going to be about. You start bringing them in, you got to get them going, and you lose them, that can skyrocket the lead cost.
All right. So you have specific type people you target?
No doubt.
Okay, you're going to be talking about that in your breakout?
100%.
All right. Next up, we got Ray.
So before I get started, I wanted to kind of go back to the marketing cost, what Andy was talking about. And I do have kind of my own little take on it, or really ancillary benefit to this, is Andy and I have a really great relationship. I've known Andy for many years. We're client number 2. Andy's client number 1. At the very beginning, we started dealing with Rodney. We were doing a lot of training together. Rodney talked a little bit earlier about ride-alongs. California went out to Wisconsin a couple of times to do training. We did ride-alongs with our sales reps. Our sales reps were riding with Andy's sales reps. And Andy, what was our close rate during? It was like 72% close rate. That was California guys also closing in Wisconsin. The system is the system. Some of the guys at that time, we weren't doing any other products other than leaf garden. Some of the guys were helping out with windows, helping out with roofing. It was absolutely ridiculous. Andy and I talked a couple of years ago about marketing and really what our lead costs were. At that time, Andy was saying, I'm going for 5%. There's no flipping way, Andy. You're ridiculous. I was at 14. Say, there's no way. We're at 6.5. So, Andy, thank you. So, I was talking with Andy's mom last night. We were talking, and this is all via Facebook, so I'm pulling this up real quick. And I asked her, she said, "Hey guys, do a great job. You know, how awesome, and you're both going to do great." Talking with the folks up there, and I said, "Hey, Em, I heard you're going to give Andy a joke," and obviously he didn't share it. Said, "So I need a joke." And she says, "You know, okay, what did the DNA say to the other DNA?" "I don't know. Do these jeans make my butt look big?" So with that, just so I can earn myself some kudos with Emily and put Andy in a bad light here, I'm going to do a selfie with you guys just because you guys like the joke. So here we go. All love, buddy. Okay, so my name's Ray Byers with Byers Enterprises. This is our team. We're located in Northern California. We're right in between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. We service basically the upper middle third of California, and I'll kind of show you how we got there. This is our team right here. Tomorrow we're going to be having our 30th anniversary with our team. Big, nice party. My father started the business back in 1987. We were a roofing contractor. Like many of you, how the business got started was at the kitchen table. Actually, in this case, it was he moved from Southern California up to Northern California. It started at Grandma's card table. Knocking doors, so he started his business canvassing. He didn't know anybody in the area, and he had no cash, so he just went around knocking on doors of folks that needed a new roof. So this is when we started our business. In 1995, we had the opportunity to add the Leaf Guard product. When we first saw the Leaf Guard product, it was one of those things you said, yeah, that's a great gimmick. It's never going to work, especially in Northern California. If you've ever seen Northern California, we have a ton of pine needles. We have a lot of trees, and it's not going to handle the snow load. Lo and behold, it actually worked. And during that time, we were doing pretty darn well, we thought. So well that in 2000, we actually got rid of our roofing division. We shut our roofing division down. Couple reasons for that. One was my father was out on the road a ton. We were doing a ton of commercial roofing, a ton of residential. Jeff, our general manager who's here, he was managing our residential division. My dad was out on the road doing all the commercial. My dad really wanted to be home, and we, as kids, really wanted him to be home. Plus, the liability between the two, as you alluded to earlier, is pretty substantial. The liability with roofing is definitely up there by comparison to rain gutters. You're not going to hurt all the antiques inside the house if rain gutters don't work. And we were doing really well, so we thought, with Leaf Guard at the time. We were actually running 6, 7, 8, and even one case, 10 leads a day with Leaf Guard. We were the only guy in town in the Northern California market. In our folder at that time, we actually had an envelope with a stamp on it so they can mail back in their contracts. We'd love seeing the mailman come deliver the mail because we knew cash was coming. We thought we were doing pretty good. In 2006, we had the opportunity to meet this gentleman, Rodney Webb. And at that time, we said, you know what, Rodney, we really like these pieces of your product that you're offering us, but we think the rest of it is bull crap. We don't believe in it. We finally came to our senses. We started doing pretty darn well with the Rodney program. So well, and actually it came at a great time because we started closing more. We started increasing our sales reps. We also at that time didn't realize what was going to happen in a few years with the market. Market was going to not do so well. We were fortunate enough during that period to start getting a great close rate and then forge a relationship with Costco. We forged a relationship with Costco in 2009. And during that time with Costco, we knew that having that relationship with Costco was not going to be a forever relationship. At our peak with Costco, we had 27 locations throughout Northern California. It produced 46% of our Leaf Guard business. We kind of started getting a little scared. We also started trying to figure out, we're in a ton of homes. How do we maximize that? We know roofing. We go in a lot of homes. We're already paying for the lead. We're in the store. Let's bring back our roofing division. 2010, we brought back our roofing division. We started with the program in 2006. We started getting really good. We started learning how to train sales reps, how to manage sales reps. When we started with Rodney, we had 3 guys. The peak, we have 15. Now, our current 11 guys are doing more than the 15 were. Learning that program. Learned the program in April of 16. 1 year ago, that relationship terminated with Costco, came to an end. We were, during that process, going, okay, we know this may happen at some point. How do we protect ourselves? We have 87 employees. How do we protect ourselves with those employees? How do we keep them moving? How do we keep them working? We started adding product lines. Product lines that we added, we talked about, in 2010, we brought back on roofing. While we were doing roofing, we also decided we needed to bring on an ancillary product. You talked about skylights, the other little products. We brought on a product called Solitube. Solitube is a tubular daylighting product. It's a quick in, quick out. Takes 2 hours to install. Nice and quick. Starting price is $700 entry point to get in the house. We had a Solitube project. We went out to bid. Didn't sell it. But it came in and brought us a nice little contract for solar. $228,000 solar contract from a $700 solar tube. Solar, we also brought on another product line or really service, which is our land clearing operation. Wonder why in the heck do we have land clearing? California, we have a lot of trees. In some cases, we have to take trees out in order to put in solar. We have to do a lot of items to the ground to do a solar ground mount. We had the equipment, so we might as well use it in other areas when it's not installing solar systems. And then leaf guard. When we were with Rodney, 100% of our business was leaf guard when we first started with Rodney. 54% of our business as of last year was with leaf guard. 25 was solar. 17 was roofing. 3 was Solitube, and 1% is with land clearing. During that whole entire process of losing 46% of our sales that we had with Leaf Guard in Costco, remember I said we had 87 employees? Today, we have 84. Because of adding those product lines, we were able to continue to keep the business moving forward and continue to help the families that are with us, our team members, keep them with jobs. So if you have that opportunity to add product lines, I strongly suggest adding product lines. The other nice part is we didn't have to go through a lot of other expenses. Yeah, we had to buy a couple trucks, but we didn't have to open up new offices. We didn't have to get new accountants. We didn't have to get new bookkeepers in other areas. Everything is still under, as Rodney said earlier, under one roof. So that's the buyer story.
All right. Just real quick, Ray. So how do you decide what product to add? I mean, how'd you guys? I've never heard of a solar tube till I came to your guys' office. Because we don't have those on the East Coast, I guess. I don't know. But how do you decide on? I mean, do you and your dad talk about it? I mean, how do you guys decide on what product to add?
So when we went in, we decided to add products that were like-minded to us as far as warranty and what the product, how we kind of consider ourselves, probably like a lot of you, the Cadillac of your industry or your area of what you're offering. And when we were doing the research to make sure that that was the Cadillac of that product category.
Right.
And Solitube had a great back end as far as dealer network helping, as well as SunPower. So we're a SunPower Solar. We're an elite contractor. I'm a premier contractor with SunPower Solar, and that was another product line that we wanted to add rather than just adding any product we can get off the shelf. We wanted to get something that we can offer that not everybody can just go out and buy.
And one last question. Your sales guys, 11 you said, do they sell multiple products, or do some of them sell multiple products? Do all of them? How does that work?
Sure. When we start off with Leaf Guard. It's an easy product to sell, easy product to quote. And then they'll graduate into roofing if they so choose. They're comfortable enough getting on the ladder and walking around on the roof. And then from there also into solar.
So they can sell multiple products.
They can.
Okay. All right. All right. So if you have a question for Ray, write it down. One of the big reasons why I put it in this order is so we can kind of see about growing a business and all the different ways to do it and things to do. And we're talking about, Ray talking about adding products. And most of you guys, especially roofing guys, most of you guys are in seasonal type businesses. And when you're in a seasonal business, what ends up happening is your guys lose focus when there's not many leads. When you're struggling for leads, the training goes down. And so it keeps your business on a roller coaster. And one of the reasons why Tom's up here is because he's been able to help some of the guys here in the audience with being able to offer more additional products that are not seasonal. And also, he can also talk about how it is to manage and help when you got multiple offices and multiple owners or multiple managers, how to kind of help manage those guys. These guys do a great job of trying to get hundreds of people on the system. So he can talk about both those things. This is Tom Wood.
Great. Thank you, Rodney. So my name is Tom Wood. Wow, that was a heck of a introduction, wasn't it? So my name is Tom Wood. I'm the president and CEO of a international franchising organization called Floor Coverings International. And over the past couple of days, one of the things that I've enjoyed is hearing all the testimonials from people that have said how Rodney has changed their life. And this is where I get to spend just 30 seconds and explain how he's changed mine and ours. I've been in home improvements and running home improvement businesses for 32 years. I started my first one back in 1985. I was running a painting business. And then over the next 30 years leading up till now, I was one of the founders of CertaPro Painters. One of the other brands that we own is California Closets. We own Paul Davis Restoration, Pillar to Post Home Inspection, and the parent company that I work with, we own a lot of the major franchised home improvement brands. But one of the things about being in painting and drywall and things like that is when I come into a room at a conference, almost always over the 32 years, I've got the ugliest business in the room. How Rodney's changed my life is I get to come to one of these, and I am not the ugliest business in the room. There's a bunch of roofers in here, guys. You guys have an uglier business than me. So I get to come here and feel good. So that's how he's changed my life. But I want to tell you a little bit about Floor Coverings International. One of the things that makes us distinct and that we feel makes us great is we have a very clear vision about what we are all about. And we start all of our organizational meetings with a reminder of who is Floor Coverings International and what do we represent. And the very first thing that we say that we represent as a company is we want to be the very best in-home flooring experience in North America. And what that means is anybody that rings a customer's doorbell and goes to a customer's home to do anything for flooring, we want to be the best experience for that homeowner. And being part of a national franchising business, or a national company, what that gives us the ability to do is to measure this. And what I can tell you is right now, we are the best customer experience in the flooring industry. Across all the social media platforms, across US and Canada, we have an average rating of 4.7 stars. Anybody ever heard of Net Promoter Score? Maybe? So a Net Promoter Score was developed by a company called Bain Consulting about 20 years ago. They were tasked with come up with the most accurate methodology to measure a brand experience. And using Net Promoter Score, we've got more than double our industry average, and our score of an 81, if anybody looks it up, puts us in the world-class ranking of any ratings for customer service. And all of you in the room know what it's like to try and bring a home improvement and get great customer service ratings because customers expect that we're going to stink before we even showed up. So we're quite proud of this. But the other thing that we have that's part of our vision statement is that we want our business owners to be able to enrich themselves and their families, and when the time comes, they're able to take their business and be able to sell it and get an outstanding equity return. So that's what we represent as an organization. Now, The flooring industry, like many of yours, is a $100 billion a year industry. What we're working in this $100 billion of a year industry is an incredibly fragmented market where if you take the top 10 competitors in our industry, the top 50 competitors, and add them together, on any given year, they barely have a 10% market share. Who do you think is number one in the flooring industry?
Empire.
Nope, not Empire. They don't even make the
Home
list.
Depot.
Home Depot. Who's number two?
Lowe's.
Lowe's is number two. Who's number three? Exactly, nobody knows, right? Once you get past Home Depot and Lowe's, nobody knows. And the reason for that is, and why our industry is so fragmented, is because our industry, the decision makers that buy flooring is the woman, right? Common sense, right? But the female in our industry makes the exclusive flooring decision 70% of the time. And I know there's mostly men here in the room. You all know what it's like. Saturday morning you wake up, you look at your spouse, and she says, hey, guess what we're doing today? And you go, wow, we're going to do something fun. You're going to drive me around to look at carpet samples. Sounds like fun, right? This is where I'm supposed to get a little laughter here, right? Yeah, exactly. It sounded so much not like fun that you were like, gosh, don't even say that. So our industry, though, the problem in our industry is it's dominated and run by a bunch of 60-year-old balding white guys up in Dalton, Georgia. And they do not know how to connect our industry with a female consumer. So our business model is all about taking flooring and moving it directly to this female homeowner in the home and turnkeying this whole flooring experience. Now, as a business model, what we've been tasked to do, and I've been one of the owners of Floor Coverings International for 11 years now, is we're saying, number one, we want to be the very best in the industry. Number two, we want to have a great business model for our owners and our franchisees. And then number three, we want to be able to grow this thing to be the dominant force in the industry. And on my last slide, I'll just tell you a little bit about what we have at Floor Coverings International. So we've just got a great scalable business model that's predicated on being able to take what we call mobile showrooms, grow them into a business with a salesperson, and be able to continue to grow in a modular format. By each time you add another mobile showroom, your business is able to grow another $600,000 to $1 million. Now, at Floor Coverings International, we have always been great at what I call the back-end systems, or support for our franchisees. But what we were lacking was a repeatable, replicable sales model that allowed us to train salespeople, support our franchisees in finding them, retaining them, and scaling them. And that's where Rodney and his team, like with you all, have really helped us. As the franchisor, we work with Rodney and his whole team on behalf of our franchisees, if you will, to be able to bring their business model of this sales system down into our franchisees' businesses with the help and coordination of us at the franchisor, so that we can take this system and replicate it across the industry for our franchisees. Now, one of the other innovations that we've got, and this is what we're really hinging a lot of our growth on here going forward, is we've taken Rodney's system and we've taken our ability to run the back end of a business and put it all into a mobile tablet format. So what I mean by that is, it's not taking the sales system and moving it out of that human touch. But if you think about it, for those of us that own businesses, what are the difficult aspects of being able to work with your salespeople? When they come out of the home, unless we did the ride-along, we have to ask them, did you get an objection in that transition question? And we have to rely on whether or not they tell you exactly what happened, if they remember what happened. We've got a tablet system that allows us to go in and not only do all the basics of measuring and estimating and coming up with a price for the consumer, but it takes the whole Rodney Webb University system and it tracks everything that happens in the home. From the time your sales rep gets to the customer's door, it records the whole sales process. You can see their inspection video. It automatically uploads so that you can be back at the office and see how did that inspection video go. You can listen to how they did the company story. You can listen to the objections. You can hear how they handled it through the transition questions. You can hear what happened on step 7 when you essentially go through and ask that pre-close question and find out, did they get red light, green light, and then how did they handle it going into step 8. You can do all of this before your sales rep even comes back to the office to then pick up with what we're trained on how do we then help and develop our salespeople. But then moving along, we handle all the merchandising for our franchisees, and it's just a great turnkey business model that brings stability to those of you that might be looking for another add-on business.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, one of the big things is I work with a lot of franchise networks over the years. There has I mean, there's not one I've seen that's ever been close to buying into helping their franchisees. These guys are on conference calls. They're doing a lot of things to really hold their guys accountable to doing it. And one of the reasons why they're here is to learn more, but the other one is provide opportunities. And the reason why I wanted them to be here is a lot of guys I see really need that other avenue of when you got thousands of customers, something you can call them back and sell them, all of those kind of things. And last year, I mean, we had one of the roofers in here decided that they would go and become a part of the Floor Covering International team, and it's completely changed his business, and he sees his business growing by, it looks like millions of dollars, and he's just getting started. Well, where's
Matt Taylor.
Where's Matt at? Matt in here? There he is. Take Matt the mic real quick.
Yes, sir.
Matt, I mean, so this is your first time really adding a whole new deal to your company. What are you seeing? You just how many months in are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I think I'm on my fifth.
Fifth month. What are you starting to see with your business? What are you seeing?
Well, it took a few months to
Put it a little closer.
It took a few months to train brand new salesmen in the system and to kind of transfer it from the roofing side and kind of separate it and start to get those salesmen trained in the system. But what we've seen over the last 6 weeks is it's totally start to switch. So our close rate that was starting in the mid-20s is now at 54%. We're kind of smashing through our goals. We're at 175,000 this month with 4 days left. I got 20 appointments left to run, so we're looking at 200 grand for our April. We're kind of set up for May. So and the systems, we have all the stuff that we've got from Rodney and that we do, but we have to implement all those things in, and we got to create our spreadsheets and enter them in. And in their system, it's already done. I mean, I'm able to track all those things just by a dashboard. And what I'm learning from floor coverings, I'm already implementing in my business now that's making what's been my breadwinning business and my moneymaker a better business. So I can't say enough. And the support, Rodney's not, I mean, that's 100% true. I'm on the phone or a conference call or people are coming to my office and I'm always talking to them, and I'm using it for my other side. I mean, everything I've implemented on floor coverings, I'm implementing on my other business right now.
It's a beautiful thing. So really quickly, does anybody have any questions for any of these guys? If you wrote something down. Okay, Joe? You want to answer that? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So in short, it's $1 million investment, with a development team over in Israel to build a whole app, right? So it's a very sophisticated piece of technology. We run it on Android, but essentially what happens is they click the button when they walk through the front door, and running in the back, it's just recording everything that's happening. It also allows us to situationally pick up different aspects, say, if we only want to do step 4 or step 5. But to answer your question, it's an app that we've developed. It is very sophisticated. It ties in with Salesforce, which is probably the best CRM, that's available, and all of our franchisees and their people have access to all of this.
And one of the things that I like about their tablet is it'll tell you how long a guy spent on each screen, how long was he on price 1, if he skipped over a screen. All of it's recorded. Amazing. Anybody got any other questions? Yes, sir.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
The first one's for Austin. On your Google Drive, when you're putting up your sales efficiency reports, and you have all your graphs and all that, and you have you know, I saw that you just had the main sales, the Rodney ratio sheet up there.
Yep.
I struggle with getting them all up on the television, all the graphs and things like that, because you've told us to use graphs, you know, the graphs of the SER. So can you do that on Google Drive?
Yes.
What do you mean use the graphs?
You know, you look at the reset percentage.
You mean the actual
Yeah.
histogram?
Yes.
It doesn't matter which report you have up. They both say the exact same thing.
Right.
So, you know, for me, it's which one you like looking at, you can see the best. I like the red light, yellow light, green light one better than the graphs myself. But, you know, which one do you do?
So on that tab, I could just go to the next tab, and it would have all the graphs there.
Okay.
So I just choose to do it in the individual sales reps because I want each of my sales reps to see exactly where they are compared to everyone else in the organization.
So they both work on Google, yes.
Okay. The other question I have is for Mr. Byers. On those different divisions, are those a separate EIN or a separate company that you're protecting the whole company with in case one of them has a
Yeah, so all
liability?
those divisions are run under Byers Enterprises. So Byers Enterprises is overseeing all those divisions. Now, we do operate them independently as far as the financials, but, you know, Leaf Guard basically paid for every single one of those divisions to get started. And by saying Leaf Guard, our Leaf Guard division paid for that. And they're just slowly getting themselves, when they started, they were slowly getting themselves back under their own feet for operational cost. So we didn't have to go to the bank with a brand new company and say, hey, we want you to loan us money for trucks for roofing when we don't have history with roofing. We just opened up a brand new company. We just got the trucks under the Byers Enterprises.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
For the gentleman here on the end, do you do residential maintenance programs?
Yeah, actually, our repair division is primarily residential. So the answer is yes. We do very little commercial.
I think he's asking a maintenance program.
Yeah.
Like is it subscription based or is it just based on price of the repair?
Yeah, so on our re-roofs cleaning, we do everything biannually. So it's not every year, it's every other year. We find that it's a little easier for the customer to appreciate that value rather than every single year. You know, cleaning out the gutters, replacing missing tabs or broken tiles. We do 4 main systems: shingle, tile, metal, flat. So yes, to answer your question, we do.
Okay. How do you, real quick, how do you advertise for that?
We don't do any advertising, so everything's through past customers, referrals, and then we do have a web presence, very small web presence. Our total marketing budget last year was $78,000 on just shy of $15 million in sales. So I'm in a different, you know, we have reputation that we've just lined on. So.
Yeah, give me some of that, huh? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yep.
This is for Ken as well. Ken, when you're running your repair division, have you tried taking roof mechanics and teaching them the Rodney system so that they're actually out there diagnosing, estimating, selling, and then doing the work as well? Or is that strictly sales, production?
We have a rule that our techs in the field do not sell, period. They are great lead generators, but we want to leave them as the trusted advisor. They might say, hey, if this is my house, I'd consider putting in some more insulation. Hey, I found another leak over here. They don't quote ranges. They don't quote prices. We bring in the expert to price that out and to do the diagnosis and to sell that as either an add-on or another job. We do, however, incentivize them through commissions. Everybody from the project coordinators, the project administrators, the project supervisors, the project managers, all the way through our organization, all can make commission on things that they sell. So, Semperfi.
All right. Back in all the way.
I know the answer to this, but I have a question for Austin that I thought might be helpful for all
That's
of us.
Austin's mom, y'all.
Thanks, Mom.
For all of us to hear, and that is, Austin, you started out as a salesperson, and you were promoted to a sales manager. how did it affect you in your sales, and how did it affect you in managing, because you did both at the same time when you started?
It didn't really work. That's a good question. So what I
That's a
found.
great question.
Yep. So at the very beginning, I was just kind of told, hey, we're going to make you in charge of all the sales reps now, but you still have to run leads. And that was mainly done from, we didn't feel like we could hire another sales rep at that point. So I did both. And that made me a terrible manager. Because all the little experiences that I had out in the field with customers, giving me a hard time, or little things that went wrong and things happened in leads, I sympathized when my reps came and told me the same stories. I'd just say, well, yeah, I get that. That happened to me last week, right? And so it wasn't effective. I wasn't able to take out my own experiences and stick to the system, trust it, and be, objectively look at it. So as soon as I stopped running leads by myself, now I just run leads with reps. I'm able to take one step back, objectively look at each lead, and not look at as a circumstance, but just trust the system and hold the reps accountable. Much better.
Yeah, that's a one. You know, I thought she was going to say, well, let me ask you a question. Do you love your mama? But that was a great question. Great question.
I'll add to that. I was a sales rep, then I went into operations manager, and like yourself, started at the bottom, started at home shows, started then call center, then production manager, sales rep, and at that time, myself as well as our general manager, we were both kind of dabbling, if you will, as a sales manager. And I think that's when you have another primary job as either being a sales rep or being operations manager or something else, you're just going to dabble in it. So, it was a very painful process, we thought, by we were fortunate enough to be able to take our number one sales rep at the time and bring him in as our sales manager, and he's over here as well today, and he just turned out to be a phenomenal sales manager. We were very fortunate with that. It was a leap of faith to do that, but you're going to have to take that leap of faith at some point to make sure that your business continues to go up and grow.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys, especially a lot of you floor covering guys that are the salesperson, the owner, everything, that is that tough thing. And you got to take that leap of faith and get that DA and get them trained and get them out there, because, that's how your business start to grow. If you keep trying to do everything by yourself, you don't become great at anything. You just you just start becoming okay at everything, and that's not going to get us where we want to go. That's a great question. Any more? Okay. Dimitri?
My question is to Ken and Byerly. One of our biggest challenge was over the years it's adding services and also do repairs. And the reason being because you have to train sales guys. Like, it's easy to sell the roof. It's easy to sell a siding job. How do you train your sales guys, especially in repair? Like, I have sales guys who not experienced roofers. When they come in, it leaks. They have to find a solution. And we have problems. We've been losing a lot of money. Keep raising minimum charges, and we were due $600-700 just to minimum service, and still losing money because of the work order. They underestimate a lot of times. How do you train sales guys to keep doing repairs and to keep adding services?
So since I have the mic, I'll start first. For us, it's weekly training. We're doing our weekly Rodney training, the sales process. We're also adding in other trainings, product-specific trainings. We also then one of the things that we pride ourselves with as well is communication to our team. I send out a weekly vlog to our team, so I'm fortunate enough to have our marketing department be able to have video editors on staff to where they can take everything that I shot here this week. They already sent it out, and it's going out tomorrow morning to our team on what it is that we're doing. We also do it with at our design center. Myself, our general manager, who's a phenomenal roofing expert, will go through and put together a video and push that out to our whole entire team of how to install correctly Our accountants are seeing this. Our gals in the call center are seeing this. Folks that have nothing to do with service are seeing how to do things correctly. So they're able to now have somewhat of a communication either with clients and or even the install team that's out there doing the service work of understanding why they build it a certain way.
Well, it's no different than a replacement lead. You know, you're doing a full DA. You're going in the attic and you're doing the full inspection. So you're finding the problems, and we're not treating a specific spot, we're treating the area. For instance, if we have a leak at the base of a valley return, we're not just fixing the return, we're fixing the valley with it. There's no question you're going to get that leak fixed if you do the entire area. It justifies the price, but at the same time ensures that that customer's not going to have that problem in the future. So we don't treat that lead any different than the training and the inspection that's required for the replacement side.
And also, if you use the tools that we give you, use that inspection video. Hey man, let's look at your video. Okay, all right, here's your video, and here's your price. Look, I mean, we can see it, and you use that, and that's just like breaking down game film. Same exact thing. We got time for. All right, come on, let's go. Lunch can. I'm sorry, we're a little late on lunch, but we're coming.
Thanks,
all right, go ahead.
Ken. After we spoke at the IRE, I stopped having my service techs quote repairs, so that was rough for them. But now my residential guys are doing it, and the margins are higher. But when somebody calls and they say, you know, my soil boot is leaking, do you still set that as a two-legged appointment? Because then the problem I'm having is then my sales reps are running an evening lead that ends up being a $500 repair, and then his counterparts are running roof leads. So there's a how do you do a lead where it's kind of obvious and do you have to do the whole Rodney setup with that? I mean, is that how you do it?
Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, it's a full two-legged appointment. Yes, it's a full inspection and demo and everything. Yes, the same guy runs the same lead. No, it's never really $500. I mean, really, they're always, if you're doing a good price one, they're throwing all the accessories in as well. So it's usually much more significant than that.
Well, you got to understand. I mean, his average ticket. I mean, we've got. A best average ticket is $2,000 or over. There's $6,000, $7,000. I mean, if you're doing if you're going in and you're doing the video, you're doing price 1, 2, and 3. You're doing those things. That average ticket on those repairs just go up, 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 and so I mean that's what it's about. I mean that's what you have to do. Okay. Yes, sir.
Got multiple product lines. I'm just trying to see consensus because everybody's got a different way of this, and maybe this is more to you, Rodney, as well. Is it better to cross-train the reps to sell everything or have them specialize in one thing, and then they walk into a lead, if they did specialize, they'd punt back and you'd reschedule? What's typically been the consensus on that?
You want to start with that?
Cross-train gives you the most flexibility in managing your sales force.
Andy?
Yeah, we have a validation process that my sales trainer puts all of our guys through in order to sell a product. They got to get validated in that product. And we start with leaf guard, and we just keep validating and validating with the ultimate goal that they can sell everything at all times.
Same for us. I mean, we're going to go through as long as they are proficient enough to express to the client what it is that they're wanting. Then we're going to let them sell it. We do train with the sales guys. We'll bring in our roofing manufacturers, have them do training with guys that don't sell roofing at that time, just so that they can learn it. We want everybody to know all that training. We even bring in our call center manager into those trainings so she can learn it, so she can help explain some of the little things to her team.
And here's what I say on that is I agree with these guys exactly. The thing is you can't treat them separately. When I say treat them separately, you can't say, well, since I know you, I know what you mean. You can't say, oh, this is a big ticket item, so it's not a one-call close. And then you can't say, well, this is just a reface, so we can give them a one-call close. What you have to be able to do, it's got to be the same, right? So you got to figure a way, and it's easy if you listen and make your mind wrap your arms around it. You got to figure a way to be able to give that customer a price every time. If you can give them a price every time that you're there, you can. Everybody that masters our system can do it no matter how much the ticket is. Doesn't mean your close rates are going to be the same. The bigger the ticket item, it may adjust the close rate, but it doesn't adjust the process. When you start changing the system because, well, this product's different, and then they are expected to do it this way this time and this way that time, then you screw up the whole system, and they're never going to buy into the whole thing because they're going to be doing it this way sometime, and then they're going to take the path of least resistance. And they're going to always take that least path even when they don't have to. So in order to do that, to answer your question, you have to find a way to not make the process different. And then the product won't matter. And it's hard to wrap your head around that sometimes. Okay? All right. Hey, guys, these guys are going to be around. We're going to break for lunch right now. After lunch, let's break for lunch. After lunch, we'll report to your. Oh, if you look in your app, there's 3 breakouts, but we only have 2 sessions. That means that you can choose which breakout you want to go to. And then, so pick 2 breakouts that you want to go to. And so you can go to Mike's breakout. Him and the guys are going to be doing how to give a sales meeting. Lenny's going to be doing how to lay out the Canvas program with the Canvas scripts. And then we also going to have Jason doing his on the balanced life of really giving some details on what he went last night. All 3 of them are really, really good. Pick the 2 best ones for you. And if you have multiple people here, why don't y'all just kind of go through each one of them and decide who's going to go. The breakout start at 1:30. Breakout start at 1:30. So enjoy lunch. Go to your breakouts. We'll see you back in here after the breakout. Hey, great job, guys. Great job. Thank you.